Mr. Jones, I need your help. I've got a horrible problem.
Mr. Truman, you are a horrible problem.
No, don't be like that. Look, you know that big client of ours, the Glen McAppleby distillery?
You've drunk them out of house and home again and they're complaining.
No, I just a small dram, that's all it was. But you know the chimney in the distillery?
Yeah.
It's meant to be straight up, yes?
Yeah.
It's not, it's sort of over like that a bit.
Are you sure you haven't been drinking, Mr.
No,
Truman?
even without the drinking. So they need to replace it. Now, Tolley guidance, I've been looking at Tolley guidance and it tells me that because it's part of the distillery, it's part of the same building, then replacing that chimney is a repair and I'll be able to get it as a tax allowable expense. Do you agree?
Tolley guidance has transformed you, Mr. Truman. That is absolutely correct.
Absolutely fantastic. Now the trouble is that HMRC won't agree. And I need to take this, I need to take it to the commissioners and then on if
the tribunal, then the Supreme Court.
Well, yeah.
But start with tribunal, but the commissioners have gone, they've changed the name.
And I wanted to take it to the House of Lords.
Well, eventually you'll get there, but it has to go through the appeals procedure first. So your starting point is the first.
Never mind. Don't worry about any of that. But what it tells me is I need the cases. I can't just rely on what it says in Tolley guidance. I need the actual cases, and I can't get those on Tolley guidance. I need them on library.
Well, if you're taking case tribunals, Mr. Truman, you're absolutely right. Tolley guidance would have told you need to do all your homework, work out all the related cases.
Yes.
So well, then off you go.
Look them up. I want you to look them up. I can't do that. I need you to.
We have a library. We pay for an online library from LexisNexis.
Yes, but I can't use it. You know I can't use it.
OK, I'm going to prove to you that you can, Mr. Truman, because I want you just to look at my computer screen.
Well, it says library up there, but that's not library. I know that's not library. It doesn't look anything like library.
Ah, but it says...
Oh, TolleyLibrary.
TolleyLibrary. LexisNexis has produced a brand new library aimed at tax professionals, Mr. Truman, which loosely interpreted could mean you.
Well, very loosely, really, but yes.
But all tax professionals now will be given new TolleyLibrary, which works the way that tax professionals work.
Well, that's really good. I mean, I like the fact I've got a bookshelf here. That's a bit like the bookshelf in my... It's got Simon's tax cases on it. That's what I was
so it's all there. It's all online. You don't have to look at it on your office floor, which is your loosely
really
interpreted as your
bookshelf. Yes, that's very true. That looks very good. Those are all the books that I need, yeah.
Well, we could go straight to Simon's tax cases, but I want to show you something even better. I want you to love TolleyLibrary like you love Tolley guidance.
Oh, I certainly love Tolley guidance, yes.
Well, I'm going to show you something. Now, what is the client issue?
Well, the client issue is that they've got a factory chimney, basically, and they need to make repairs to the factory chimney.
OK, well, let's just type it in. Let's get the search engine here to do what we want it to do for us. Okay. So we're going to just simply, in natural language search, which is what this works on now, is repair to factory chimney.
Yeah, I'm not sure that phrase itself is in the case.
It won't be, Mr. Truman, but what a natural language search will do is will look for words around it and see what it comes up with. So what I always do with any tax problem now, I just search across everything that the library has, and I soon find, when I've delivered the results back, we've got here the doctrine of entirety.
Oh, that's what it was about.
Manual.
Yes.
Were they quoting that at you about whether the factory's in...
They were talking about the entirety, yes, that's right.
And the Samuel Jones case, Mr. Truman?
Sort of, I vaguely remember that. Yes.
And there's all these cases here, but every single case that relates to the repair to a factory chimney, and if we soon delve into it...
It says replacement of factory chimney
from Tolley's
down there.
tax cases.
Fantastic.
And I think you'll find that the answer to your question is actually in here. And you've got all the cases to prove to HMRC that, in fact, Mr. Truman, you're right.
Well, that's really very good.
And if you want to know whether there's been anything in the magazines on it, back in 2003, that Genius magazine with
Taxation.
That brilliant editor,
absolutely,
they published it's not what you think it is in Taxation in 2003.
I always reckon that if you can just sort of repeat what the editor of Taxation says, then you're doing fine, yes.
Well, it's not the way I live, Mr. Truman, but each to their
works
own.
For me.
No, I always prefer to quote from Rebecca Bennyworth.
Rebecca.
And if we want commentary, it's all in Simon's. If we want the cases, there's 19 separate references to cases. It's all here, all in natural language search. How long did that take us, Mr. Truman, to find absolutely everything you want to take that case to the commissioners?
Almost no time at all. That's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Could it help me with something else, do you think? I mean, any other problems that they've got?
Well, the other thing we could do, let's go back to your bookshelf, because you love your books.
I do love my books. No, hang on, look. this is fine, and I quite like it, but you've got the orange tax handbook at the top. I mean, if it's set up like that, it's no use to me because I just don't use the orange.
Well, the problem is, Mr Truman, is that anything with the word VAT in it, you run away from it and pass it to me.
Well, apart from VAT 69 whiskey, I mean, that's, yes.
Yes, that one, yeah. Well, anyway, I do a lot more work around VAT these days, but that's why I've put it at the top of my bookcase. But on your system, and you'll have your own login, you can actually say, well, I don't use the orange book as much, I'll put the yellow book at the top. And you just drag and drop it.
Isn't that fantastic?
And if you think, well, actually, I think Taxation Magazine is my favourite thing, and you want to search that, then you can put Taxation Magazine at the top.
That's really good, isn't it? I like that.
And there's all the other books. These are all my favourites on the bookcase, and I can have a number up here.
Right.
But if I actually want to add in any more books from our subscription, we subscribe to a very extensive library from the Tolley range. I can just actually go into here and go in and add in anything else that we subscribe for.
That is very good.
I'll cancel that out because I don't want to change my library at this stage.
No, I can understand that.
But one thing that we might be interested in, because of course we're looking at taking a case, I'm going to tick the box there, Mr Truman. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to pretend that I've got my hard copy of my Simon's tax cases open, and I want to search for something that might be of relevance to our case in hand.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. They're distillers, and the big problem that we've got is depreciation on their stock. The depreciation seems to be causing a problem. They've got an accounting loss and a taxable profit. And it's all down to the depreciation. I can't work it out.
What do they do?
They're distillers.
Well, OK. I'm going to just type it in because I really don't know if there's a case, but I do like Simon's tax cases. I'm just going to see what cases there are on distillers.
OK.
So that we've covered off the chimney, and now we're looking at anything specific to what they do. So let's just search and see what we come up with. Now, Mr Truman, you're hitting something because I remember this one.
I remember that. That was in taxation. I only remember it because it was in taxation. William Grant, and the Mars case as well. And that was all about, well, depreciation and stock, and there was something about T accounts.
That's right. Well, actually, here's the full reference to this case. And I think you found, if we read through this very quickly, I think we found the number of the problem. Because there is a huge depreciation charge going through the books because they have a very large amount of stock.
Yes.
And what the whole issue in this case was around was whether, when you actually add back the stock value, you can actually account for the depreciation.
I think what I'm going to do is get one of the tax seniors to have a look at that for me. But I think it's very good that we found the case because that's really helpful.
Yeah. And I tell you what, the whole issue around, the good thing about this is we can read the case, then we can think how that applies.
Yeah, a tax senior can read the case and think how that applies. I think but that's really useful. We've got one who's only just passed her exams. I think we'll get her to have a look at it.
Don't you trust me, Mr Truman?
I trust you, Mr Jones. I'm sure I trust you, but I think I'll have the tax senior who's just passed her exams to have a look at it.
OK. Now, is there anything else that I need to show? I tell you what, look, on this new library, you can search your own books. And look, when I tick Simon's tax cases, if you know the case name, you can type it in. You can type in the keywords.
Yeah, but you won't always have a case name, will you? I mean, if...
No, you won't. And actually here, if I just tick Taxation Magazine, I can just search taxation. Yeah. And I could type in repairs to factory chimney. It will find the article we found when we did the big search.
All right.
Here, if I'm searching through the legislation, if I just tick the legislation box and tick a search, so just say I can actually just search there, I can say, well, I know what act it's in, I know what section it is, and it will just find it straight away for me.
You sometimes know what act and what section it's in, do you?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Well, you'll just need to type in a keyword and search just the yellow book. So you just tick what you want to search.
Oh, that'd be really
so rather than opening up the hard copy, you can just search from here and just say, I only want to look at the yellow book. And sometimes, as we saw on the right-hand side of the screen, if we want to look at everything and see, and then once we've got the search, we can decide whether we want to look at legislation or a case or commentary or journals, then we can decide that and look at those areas once we've done a major search on everything.
That's very good. This breaking news, is that to do with construction companies or something? Or why is it breaking?
It's breaking news, not because it's breaking things up. It's brand new news about what's changing in tax, and you can sign up to different alerts so that if, for example, you want to see, well, that case on that you're dealing with, whether it's changed,
It'll go into breaking news.
It'll breaking news, and it will alert you to the fact that something's changed on one of your pet subjects.
That's really good, but look, again, it's VAT down here. I don't want VAT.
Well, if you don't want VAT news, you can choose a different news. You can either just get rid of the VAT news if you don't want it, confer removal. Well, I'm going to confer removal because, Mr Truman, I'm going to set this up for you. And I said,
Fantastic.
well, I don't want to look at that because it scares you, Mr
And now
Truman.
I've got personal down there.
Yeah,
That's what I really wanted.
Yeah.
And an abacus. I used to use those.
Yeah, I bet you did, Mr
Yeah.
Truman. You still have one.
I do.
And you've got Taxation Magazine. You
Oh,
can link straight
fantastic.
to the Taxation website and do your all what you do on the Taxation website. You can go in and do some CPD on Tolley seminars online.
This really is very good, isn't it?
So, Mr Truman, are you impressed with what LexisNexis have done in creating this new Tolley library?
I'm really massively impressed with what they've done. In fact, I think they've done so well. I think they deserve some recognition from us. I think we ought to put their logo up in our offices.
Mr Truman, look behind you.